Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
It's, you know what? It's a challenging week to do a comedy show.
Yeah.
That's what Buzz and I ran into that yesterday with what's happening in Israel. We tried jokes. We tried to be, try to have a little bit of fun around it. But man, what a horror show is going on there.
Yeah.
And
we're saying,
not to get to what.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We're
this is when we try to be serious. We just step all over each other. When we're being silly and there are fart noises, then everything goes smoothly.
We're like nerds trying to dance at the prom when we're trying to be serious. No, you go ahead.
Right. We are broadcasting professionals. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was awesome.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say the thing that I keep thinking about, and we talked about extensively on my show yesterday, which is that I feel as though there's a significant lesson to be learned from what's going on there in terms of the dynamics of sectarian violence. And when we talk about things like civil war inside the United States, I was kind of hoping that things like this, what's happening in Israel and Gaza, and certainly what's happening in Ukraine, would have disabused us of this ridiculous notion that we have to use violence in this country because, I don't know, we're out of words to make our points and we're out of votes to make our points. It goes to what, the clip that you just played of Joe Scarborough talking about Greg Gutfeld last week. And Greg Gutfeld said it point blank on The Five on Fox News. Oh, we should use violence, and elections don't matter anymore.
Yeah,
that was the point. And we really need to take that idea seriously from the perspective of pushing back against it and not normalizing it. Because what we see in Israel and what we see in Ukraine is the consequence of that line of thinking. That violence is the only way to exact political change, and that eliminating elections is the only way to carry on, the governing of a nation.
Yeah.
And obviously we see the results in terms of death tolls and in terms of hostage taking and in terms of unspeakable violence. And that, we think we're immune here. That can actually happen here. What we saw over the weekend can happen here.
My basement has just become the Gaza Strip. Bonnie and Clyde are having a conflagration, but Jody's Switzerland. It'll be fine soon. Okay.
So on that cheery note, yes.
But you did. There is a silver lining. Bob, you tweeted, "Thank goodness smart, rational people are running the show in Washington. Thank goodness the 2020 election went the way it did. Imagine the Israel crisis with Trump and his sideshow tent of disruptors, fascists, and Mos Eisley Cantina aliens in charge." Oh my God, yes. I was glad you retweeted Mary Trump. We talked about what she said yesterday. She said, this maniac likely gave Putin, who gave Iran, who gave Hamas, Israel's national security secrets. Plus, he divulged highly classified information about our nuclear subs to an Australian cardboard guy. Why is he still allowed to roam free? Michael Tomasky, who joins us in a bit, Bob, writes a terrifying piece about, imagine everything that's going on right now in the country and the world if Trump gets back in. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think we have a sense of how that might go based on the previous 4 years, but I think that's just the beginning. Donald Trump's 4 years in office were kind of like his beta testing phase. And now with Project 2025 and a very clear authoritarian, fascist, idiocratic roadmap laid out for him for a second 4 years, I think we kind of have a strong sense in terms of how that's going to play out. And I think we're right to imagine some worst case scenarios along the way. Obviously, some things will work out okay if that eventuality occurs, but there are going to be a lot of awful things. And I think you said it Monday morning, Stephanie, which is that imagine if Donald Trump and his fast and loose relationship with national security secrets precipitated what we're seeing in Israel right now.
Yeah.
I can't help but to think that if that were to occur, what would be the reaction? What would be the news media reaction to that? What would be the voter reaction to something like that? I don't know. I mean, it used to be where you could imagine a scenario like that and go, well, yeah, everyone would rise up against Donald Trump and condemn him, and there would be consequences for that. But now you go, oh, geez, I think he would have lots of supporters. Yes, he should have divulged this information to the Russians, or and then down the line to Iran and so on, and then leading to this. And so we're just in such a sketchy territory right now. It's hard to know which end is up.
But, it is, you're right. Partially, this party, I don't even know if you can call it a party anymore here, these Republicans. Skyley tweeted, seriously, anyone see a pattern here? We have no ambassadors in the key territories we need to support. It's not just Israel. The Senate GOP is kneecapping our national security full circle, from Senator Tuberville holding up key military nominations and no ambassadors, and this truly hinders this country. I mean, and I was, just the rank hypocrisy popped into my head yesterday that Israel has, taxpayer-funded abortions on demand. But, of course, Tuberville has no thoughts on that, I guess. It's just there's so much hypocrisy on the right? I mean, from Hawley saying, let's take the money from Ukraine and give it to Israel, as if that's a binary choice we have to make, right?
Right. It's hypocrisy and a whole lot of cynicism. I mean, that's, I think, a great way to describe what's happening on the Republican side of things, where they are seizing on the worst instincts of Americans to play out their end game, which is eventually to seize as many political offices as they can find and lock the door behind them and never allow anyone to come back in. And that would be the end of democracy, of course, and I'm sure Michael Tomasky will talk about that extensively. But that's the idea, and tricking people and suckering them and manipulating people with rhetoric and things that will get everyone stirred up without kind of considering the end game, considering the ramifications of what they're doing. And that's happening with Tommy Tuberville and every single Republican on Capitol Hill, as well as the entire sideshow tent that circulates around Donald Trump.
Excuse me. Sorry, I had one more sneeze stuck. We just played one of our latest MAGA lunatics. I know you play the audio too, but this is the other. I thought Liam on Twitter made a great point. Some of the Hamas terrorists were religious fundamentalists, but a lot of them are just young, pathetic, little bloodthirsty nihilists who want to burn everything down because their lives suck. It's the same problem America has with the basement-dwelling maggots. Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah, and this is, again, something we're seeing more and more these days, because there's this great a book out right now called Undertow, and it's written by a guy named Jeff Charlotte, and he went around to a lot of these mega churches in Trump country and determined that, this merging of religion and politics is happening all across that region of the country, where people are now being indoctrinated into participating in a civil war. In these mega churches. That's what it's come down to. That we can no longer deal with the woke culture. We can no longer deal with Democrats, or however they're labeling the majority of Americans in this country, and so therefore we need to go to war against them. And it's the same mentality we've seen played out time and time again in the Middle East and elsewhere, where this zealotry appears surrounding politics with a very clear kind of faith-based, closely held beliefs kind of drive to it. And it's terrifying. It's a terrifying prospect.
Bob, you're so good at, talking about, both on your show and Twitter and Threads or wherever, just about all of the factors that we need to be aware of and afraid of, I think, in the 2024 campaign. But about Twitter, you retweeted NBC News, who said researchers have uncovered a propaganda network of 67 accounts on the X social platform that are coordinating a campaign of posting false inflammatory content related to the Israel-Hamas war. I mean, chaos. This is what they want. The House GOP is the chaos caucus. RFK Jr., chaos agent. I mean, they want more and more, whatever causes chaos here and around the world, right?
Yeah, I keep quoting Billy Curdrip on the morning show. Chaos is the new cocaine, and that seems to be the thing. There's an addiction to it, and it's remarkable to observe, and it just seems to continue on and on and on. No one's ever satisfied. It's, in fact, just like cocaine. You need a bigger and bigger fix, and the results are less impactful as you get used to it, and so on. It's the same process, and so you need more and more chaos, and that's being really weaponized. It's insane.
Why you, as usual, you complete me because you mentioned morning show, because I just finished Good Wife, the whole series last night.
Now you're watching the addiction show?
Well, it's that Juliana Margulies could be the gateway.
Right.
Is she still having a hot lesbian affair with Reese Witherspoon? If so, I still have a reason to live. But
yeah, she's on the show this season.
She is on the show this season.
See, it's a bridge.
Yeah,
it's right into another Juliana Margulies vehicle. Okay, Bob.
Yes.
Did every single person in the United States put the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme under RFK Jr.'s launch? Because you cannot write that from Cheryl Hines introducing him to him not realizing he was on a hot mic to what else, Jody? We didn't have a speech.
Right.
Then his speech was upside down in the teleprompter. It was fantastic.
What a shame, but so demonstrative, so illustrative of an independent run for president. There's no point to it other than to take votes away from one of the two legitimate candidates.
Political tourists. That's what you always call it.
Political tourists. It's exactly right.
With democracy. Who said that? You did. Bob Cesca.
Yes. I'm playing political tourist, political hobbyist. That's what this is all about. If RFK Jr. was serious about public policy and governing, he would start by running for Senate or state legislature or governor somewhere down there and learn how politics works from the inside and then work his way up to president. I love this idea that people, like, you can grab some guy from Coach and stick him in the cockpit and say, okay, you fly the plane to Boston.
Yeah.
No. That's not, with no experience, you don't want someone grabbing the yoke in the cockpit and flying a commuter jet across country. Yeah. Likewise, you don't want to give someone with no experience the codes to the nuclear arsenal and purview over 330 million lives. Yeah. I mean, we saw the results of a political dilettante, a political tourist, a political hobbyist working his way into the White House and what that manifested. 400,000 Americans died in that person's final year in office because he had no experience. Thought he did, gigantic ego, believing I can do this job. And that's part of the problem. RFK Jr. I can do this job, of course. Marianne Wood, I can do this job. Cornel West, I can do this job. Oh, really, can you? Can you really show me you can do that job by taking some other post and learning how to do the job?
Yeah.
But of course, that's not going to happen. It's the demystification of the presidency has been one of the most damaging aspects of democracy these days.
This is what. Oh, hi! I'm here with sexy liberal John Fugelsang, wearing my Los Angeles sexy liberal shirt. Oh my God! We have an LA show coming up October 21st. But how else could you see it, John?
Could you see it? I'm so glad you asked. For a limited time, you can see the show live via pay-per-view if you go to sexyliberal.com. All the laughs, you'll miss nothing.
I can stream it from all around the world?
All around the world, in your car, while you're driving. Watch it at home.
Sexyliberal.com, yeah.